So we're here in the room, and we're talking about trading small accounts. How long does it take to reach certain levels of sophistication and consistency? And actually, after reading the Market Wizards book and something Amrit was saying in that he's a trader in the book, was about consistency is actually a little bit of a fallacy, and it's the wrong focus for so many traders. It actually is the wrong focus. Just look at it like that. Think about other things that are more important. There's a few fallacies that I'll get into when we do record this again about performance goals, as in people want to have a bigger win percent. Well, I'll show you traders that have a 75% win rate or win percentage and they still lose money. I want you to actually think about and draw down the mathematics on a spreadsheet as to how that is possible. You win 75% of your trades, but you still lose money. Who wants to take a stab at telling me how that's possible? Well, you do your arse on the ones that you lose money on. So you absolutely do your ass on it. So while you have 75% winners, it's inverse risk. Yeah, you're cutting your winners and you're letting your losers run. I mean, just it makes me fun. It makes me laugh. It sounds totally arseways, but this is what can happen when you're so involved, and so your brain is so fried by trying to just do everything right and do everything that you've been taught to do. I've seen people who should know way better let that happen. Sometimes I mistakenly will let a loser run, but it's usually down to a technical problem, or maybe I give something like a couple more ticks space, and I start to like average it into it a little bit, and then I just think, what, do I want to average this or not? And 90% of the time I just go, what, I don't want this hassle. The point being is that we are all on this process of transition. We are all on here. We're in a way, every OODA loop kind of completes a circle here as well. An OODA loop, it might take one or two OODA loops to get to the end of this. In like, I'm talking about a matter of over 5 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour. But the point is, you start off learning, and I covered the pyramid of development with the newbie Jedi younglings on Tuesday, I think it was. And I can cover that in the further recording here, but really are we recording? We are. Just to cover this, essentially, when you start learning how to trade, you're kind of like here, right? You're absorbing such a huge amount of information at this point, right before the fear kicks in. When Shelby started trading, she actually had a decent little edge that she was trading. And then when she learned more and more, she turned around to me, she's like, I'm screwed now. Now I know all the detailed stuff. I find it really hard to take a trade. Go figure. The more you know, the more you're aware of what can shoot you and get you, and take you out, and all these other elements that you're just getting used to learning, or even just finding out about for the first time, the more you become paralyzed by indecision. So essentially that is, look at this guy, this is bigger than I thought, and he's slipping down and down, anger, and look at this, at self, anger at self. This is self one. If you've read The Inner Game of Tennis, this guy here is battling with his self one. Look at this, did I really do that? I'm laughing because, I've kind of gone through all this stuff, and you're just like, I remember having conversations with sports psychologists, just being like, who is it that presses the button? it's not me. It's like Bruce Banner in the Hulk. It's like what goes on? Um, yeah, who am I? Depression is low, no laughing matter. But you know, these are the big emotions that I talk about when you have some losses, when you have a big loss. You know, you're really in the doldrums and you're really in that trough of change. You know, the transition really is this point here, you know, and this really comes down to psychologically, like, well, you say about people who need help or something, you say, well, I think unfortunately things have to get a lot worse before they get any better. And this is a graph of that. You know, anger itself, then just disillusionment at yourself, um, utter morale low. Who am I? What am I doing? And this is the walk, the make or break points for most people. And you know what? If you walk, there's no shame in that. And I was talking to a trader who just walked from trading there last week, and it was really, I really felt, you know, it was not someone that I had really mentored on my course, but well, I hadn't mentored him on how I trade. He had his own edge, and he wanted to keep that. So I just really acted as a psychological support to his decisions. And yeah, he just couldn't do it anymore. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. This really is not for everyone. Um, or hostility, I'll make it work if it kills me. And that's where you persist with your self one, your ego. You know, sometimes I can be really harsh with people, and I've made people cry in the past. I've made traders cry before because their ego is killing them. And when you know, it's only happened once, but when that happens, it's their ego crushing. Their ego is bending. Their ego is the one that persistently buys into a falling market, moves the stop, all of this. That's their ego. And if you're upset with your trading, it's just your ego and your self one. Give it up. Give it up. You know, just be real. Get real. Give it up. You know, there's only one thing that happened, you know, in a day, and that's you either traded well or you didn't. You know, and that's all there is to it. Review it, move on, done. Um, so really, when you come out of the trough, when you are so beaten up and rattled and ravaged, you've come out of depression, you have new fresh eyes for what you want to do and what your objective is, you then essentially look to move forward and see a way forward. And if that way forward involves taking things way slower, way smaller in size, in how much size you trade with, um, so be it. But what's the alternative? You walk. So what is it? You got to sit down and say to yourself, what is it? And is it this or is it this? Do I want to buy a Lambo by the end of this quarter, or do I want to actually become a better trader and I'm dedicating myself to this craft? You know, which is it? Because one of those traders is going to walk, is going to have to walk. And you know what? It won't even be anyone else that tells them. It'll just be simply their financial situation, which will force that to happen. So this is the process of transition. And what I'm saying to you is this whole curve can take up to about 2 years to be this dude, from day one to this guy. You know, there's tracking of, you can track how many hours you have in front of the markets, 10,000 hours of mastery. That's, that's something you could track, you know, do the calculation. 200 say working days in a year. I think it's like 220 is the average. 200 working days in a year trading, and you're going to spend 8 days a year on, or sorry, 8 hours a day. Let's average it out with 4 days a week. So let's say you're doing 200 days. Where's my calculator? Because I tend to not be able to actually think that well at the end of the day. My calculator's gone. All right, so 200 times 8, and then times 60. 200 times 8 times 60. Hey Google, what is 200 times 8 times 60? Doesn't even listen to me. Whatever that figure is, that's where your 10,000 hours is going to derive from, right? If you're putting in those hours. No, for me, I mean, I sort of developed edge and small consistency from pretty much 3 months in, and I really wasn't relying on my trading for income. And I had a couple of years worth of capital there that I built up, that I wasn't so much under pressure. I mean, I did not start trading with a view to, well, I've never actually traded with a view to paying my rent with my trading. That is a very skewed mindset. You're really under pressure, and you're going to skew your entire psychology about your trading if you put yourself under that much pressure. But I certainly went through a process of transition. I mean, I think for me to come out of the depth of a process of transition was probably after I took that loss around April, May 2017. So I'd kind of been lucky to go through kind of a 6 month period. But then when I learned how to scalp in Geneva, I went through like a whole other curve transition, and I was very lucky to be able to be in a great place, surrounded by great traders, to be able to bring me through that. Um, and I don't think everyone has that opportunity, but you really have to be realistic about what you're trying to do ultimately with your trading. This is going to take time, but you are going to be looking at one of the biggest reward things you will probably do, certainly financially, you will do in your entire life. And this is something that 90% of people do not even attempt to do. Maybe 70% of people don't attempt. But timings wise, yeah, I mean, you can't just go to college for 3 months and expect to start, doing brain surgery or flying a plane. Even something as simple as flying a plane, it's not really that hard, I don't think. But well, Kate Underhill, she'll tell you actually how hard it is, and I don't mean to belittle pilots or that task at all. I mean, no, but you get what I mean. You get what I mean. Josh says, "Oh, so sorry, Santa coming in. Any good personal development? Or no, hold on, there was another one. A lot of comments here. Amplify does not offer a base salary to developing traders, not to developing traders. Let's see. Well, lighten up the board here. Yeah. All right. Let's get off this. Just answer a couple of questions. NASDAQ. It's not really doing anything, actually. Nothing's really doing anything right now. I mean, well, no. So brokers, Hussein, AMP, look at AMP. IG or IG, yeah, no, ditch IG, man, no way. I would go to, if you want to trade CFDs, well, yeah, I mean, you could stay with IG. AMP Global are there. I had someone who was going to check the whole landscape for me, actually, because I wanted to be aware of some changes that are going on in the brokerage landscape at the moment. And my personal mentor, Bob in Las Vegas, he's like 82. We were having a conversation about brokerages there just before Christmas, and because he's got about 4 or 5 traders working with him now on some strategies, and so the brokers are really tightening up a lot. Anyway, um, okay, here we go. My equity curve was steadily down, then bottomed out for a month or two, now going up very slowly with large swings, working towards a smooth upward slope. Great, good stuff, Josh. Look at your NFE to MFE, or sorry, MAE to MFE ratio. I've talked about that before. Use the report card, guys. Use that daily report card that I shared. Use it, please, and share like a report of your day. You don't have to share your P&L, but I'd love to see your performance, and then we can actually talk about or examine this in the peer group sense each day. Is it the best to master a single market first or be capable across a number of markets? If you trade a singular market, you'll actually find you'll find yourself forcing trades in that one market. So you need to be very aware of that. So for you to trade, I would say start off trading like 2 or 3 markets to start off with. And if your 2 or 3 markets are like oil and Dow, don't be sitting there at 8 o'clock on the European Open expecting to have awesome trades in the Dow or oil. If you want to trade in the morning session, you need to pick a European product: DAX, Euro, Bund, SMI, stocks, CAC Quarante, BTPs, OATs, gilts, FTSE, all these things. But don't be picking US. People do this all the time. They wake up in the morning, want to trade at 8 a.m. and they go and hit the S&P. Don't do that. The DAX is driving that market. Anyway, to come down here to finish this off. Yeah, Josh, thank you. Good supportive commentary. Thank you. Any good personal development work you would recommend to help the attitude issues? So yeah, thanks for that one. The attitude issues, yeah, learn to be grateful for everything you have. Learn to be happy. Learn to be happy. Something that I saw happen with some people around me a couple of years ago was that they were only ever going to be happy when something would happen, as in the future. If and then when something would happen, they would then be happy. If I only had this, did that, went there, wasn't here, I would be happy. What would make me really happy is if this happened or that happened, or I had this and that or the other. No, you got to be happy now, right now. I'm quite reading books about Stoicism will really help there. And the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius is a good place to start. But if my time came now, and this is me, I'm done. I'm ready to go. I'm happy. I've had a good old run of it. I've lived a lot. I'm happy. Fine, if so be it. I'm ready. Go for it. But too many people are waiting to be happy. Don't wait to be happy. Just be happy. Be comfortable. Don't perceive problems where there are no problems. Don't forecast problems that aren't real right now. So that's the core thing I would say about personal development work. And that's it. Mindset. Yeah, that mindset book from Carl D. Zwick. Read it. Like read. I would say read. I read 26 books last year. I've set a target to read 30 this year. And Goodreads tells me that I have to read 2.5 books a week to keep that rate. I don't know if I can do that. Maybe if I wisely pick all the small books. But read. Grow the mind. Don't don't waste your time in front of Netflix. Now, guilty as charged right here, but I do read a lot. So, and I would encourage you guys and girls to do that too. The main thing I would love to see happening is people using a steady report card and then just posting up a screenshot of the report card that they have for like today. That would be fantastic. Then we can really start to get somewhere and learn as a group and help each other, peer review. I can talk about stuff with you. It'll be great. All right, I'm gonna leave y'all here because dinner is gonna be ready in 7 minutes. So I'm actually having a very early dinner for a European. Normally it would be around 8 o'clock. So leave you all to it. Another good session. I'm going to stop the recording here.